Day breaks and I'm burned by the morning light. I make the same mistake more than twice. Same song, but brand new dance. I wear out my third second chance. You take my breath and I can't get it back. Might be time for me to face the facts. The best me is with you, but I know I got a lot to prove. They think we're too damaged to fix, but we're just working through a little rust. They like to say we're just young, but I know we won't give this up. Sometimes I lose my mind, and some days it's hard to find the reason why you stay by my side. You and I break our hearts open in half just to see if we'll put them back. No matter what they try, I'll stay by your side. It's you and I.
Hello. Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Do you guys hear me okay? Hey. I don't think notifications went out, and then I tried the redirect feature, and I think it might have sent some people um to the live before this one. So that's new. Do you guys hear me okay? You hear me okay? How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. So today I'm going to be talking about Hailey Clifton-Carmack. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this case at all. Yes, you hear me? Is anybody familiar with this case? Nancy, I guess I should pause if people are saying yes to when I asked if you could hear me, or yes, you're familiar with the case. Sorry, I posted. Oh, thank you so much, Cooch. I appreciate that. I sent you a message. I didn't want you to stop your live just for me because it's not anything to do with the community, but so I appreciate you doing that. Haven't heard of this case? Okay. Um, the woman that is in my thumbnail, her name is Hailey, and she was a teacher in Missouri. You hadn't heard of? Oh, Claire, you're always up in the legal stuff. I'm surprised you hadn't heard of it. Hey, Brookie. Haven't heard of it. Okay. She was has multiple charges for having a relationship with a student. And I'm going to read the probable cause and the indictment on this. The indictment was just unsealed, and I was looking through Google to see if anybody else had reported on it so I could bring it up, the news article, but nobody has reported it. The last thing I saw was back in January. An agency had said that they had reached out to get a copy of it, but that it was under seal. And I've been checking up on this case and watching the dockets, and I saw that it was just unsealed. So here we are. But I something extremely sick about this case is that the student who's 16 years old. Oh, let me switch screens real quick because I want to put you on full screen. Okay, there we go. Um, then you'll be able to see better. So this teacher, Haley, she was having a relationship with a student of hers, and she's a math teacher in Central Missouri. Now, something that's really sick about this case is that the father was aware of their relationship, and other students acted as lookouts while this teacher was intimate with that student. And so I'm going to show you everything that is alleged in it. I do have the father's probable cause affidavit as well. Um, but because the father posted bond, I I don't want to put his name out in the universe just because I'm sure the kid's going through enough as it is. And although his name has been reported in some news outlets, I just don't want to further harm this child if I can help it. And I don't want him to get any um, backlash or anything by putting his father's name out here. So, I mean, you'll have to trust me that it's his name. You'll see in the probable cause affidavit that it is him. But I just wanted to do what was right in my heart, and that's not put him in there. So, um, now Haley was charged with endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree, two or more patterns of activity, sexual conduct. She was charged with statutory rape, sexual contact with a student, and child molestation, child less than 17 years or less than 17. And so I'll show you that. Hey, everyone. Sorry, I didn't say hi to everybody. Go down the list. I just kind of wanted to get this going and we can carry on. Um, now, Haley, she was questioned by law enforcement about this, and she ended up fleeing to Texas, where she was caught and she was held there until she was extradited. Now, she was extradited on January 20th and booked into a jail in Missouri on the 21st of January. And so I'll show you that as well. Oh, thank you, ambulance girl. I can read or show you guys the affidavit or the probable cause affidavit for the father as well. And there's some additional things that I discovered when I was looking up this case and researching it because I was kind of seeing um, what was going on with it because there was a grand jury indictment after the original case was filed. And there were some things to me are disturbing um, regarding teacher, like her as a teacher or even the school district. And so I will show you what I found in that regard as well. So, as long as you guys can see my screen, which I think you can. Let me see. Hey, Doom. So let me. Now, this is the most recent case, the one that's on your screen here. And basically, I'm just showing you this is the case header. And you'll notice with this case, there's a 01 at the end of it, and that will be the grand jury indictment and versus the original case that was filed. This case with the 01 at the end is the case that was under seal. Is she married? She actually was married up until a year ago, and her husband filed for divorce. So yeah, she definitely was married, but not at the time that these two or her and the student were in a relationship. And it's interesting because there's an allegation in the divorce that had to do with, like, butt sex, and there's just weird things that you'll see when I go over this, like camel toes referenced and all sorts of weird shit. So I will show you guys that. I have like 7 pages of notes. So, all right, here we go. Let me click over here. Scroll up so you guys can see that okay. This is basically the charges that are filed against her. And just as I mentioned earlier, we've got the endangering the welfare of a child. We've got statutory rape, sexual contact with a student, and child molestation. Um, I was totally going to put a trigger warning in the chat, and I totally forgot to do that because I was running late. But when I review this, it's not totally graphic, but I mean, it does discuss a sensitive topic. So I just wanted to make you guys aware. And this is the docket entries for the O1 case. And there's really nothing on here that we won't go over, but basically on the 16th of January is when the grand jury signed off on the indictment. And on the 23rd of January, she had her attorney on record file a disclosure. And then when we go to the 25th, she was scheduled for a hearing for a plea trial hearing setting on, let's see, when did they set that? They set that for, that's not, actually, there's nothing on the calendar right now, but it says plea trial setting scheduled. That's kind of weird. Um, Thank you so much, Nancy, for doing that. Well, not necessarily butt sex as being a sensitive topic, but, um, talking about the charges itself can be a very serious topic to some people. So let me go. I'm going to just double check to make sure it shows up on the screen okay. Okay, perfect. So this is the indictment, and I'll just go over that. And I have redacted her address, even though it's public record. This count 1 is basically that the grand jury charged the defendant in violation of revised statute, Missouri, blah, 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 committed the Class C felony of endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree, punishable upon conviction under, and then it gives more revised statutes, in that between or on November 1st, 2023 and December 23rd, in the county of Pulaski, state of Missouri, the defendant knowingly engaged in sexual contact with a confidential victim, a child less than 17 years of age, for whom the defendant was a teacher charged with care and custody of the child. And this offense was committed by the defendant as part of an act or a series of acts performed by 2 or more persons as part of an established or prescribed pattern of activity by working in concert with confidential victim's parents to gain access to the child and using other students to hide the sexual contact. And then it says the punishment for a Class C felony is imprisonment in the custody of the Missouri Department of Corrections for a term of years not less than 3 years and not to exceed 10 years, or by a fine not to exceed $10,000, or by both imprisonment and a fine. If money or property has been gained through the commission of the crime, any fine imposed may be not more than double the amount of the offender's gain from the commission of the crime. Okay. So the next one we have is the charge for which one is this? This is for the statutory rape in the second degree. I'm gonna skim through some of this, like some of this stuff, like is repetitive. So like the December 1st or the November 1st to the December 23rd. A lot of this information is it gives a bigger picture of what happened in the probable cause affidavits. So, oh, thank you so much, ambulance girl. I appreciate. That's very nice of you. I think it's gonna do more of them. Huh? That's so funny. Now, with the oop, with these charges, I can go into further explanation of what happened in the event here very shortly, actually. And so the second count that we have is for the um, Class D felony for statutory rape in the second degree. This one has a range of punishment for Class D felony is imprisonment in the custody of the Missouri Department of Corrections for a term of years not less than 1 year and not to exceed 7. And then we've got the same um, chart fine of $10,000. The third count we have is for the Class E felony for sexual contact with a student. Um, Same dates, everything there. And then the um, Class E felony is imprisonment in the custody of the Missouri Department of Corrections for a term not less than 1 year, not to exceed 4. And then we've got the $10,000 fine again. And count 4, we have the Class E felony of child molestation in the 4th degree, punishable upon conviction. And that one is for, let's see, this one is 1 year, not to exceed 4 years. Then I'm going to, this is basically a memorandum from when she had a hearing that her next court date is going to be on November 5th. And she did have a bond review hearing, and I have the uh, bond review. Her original bond was set at $250,000, and it got moved down to $100,000. But as of this live, she was still behind bars. And this is basically the bond release order. And then her condition of bond is the defendant shall abide by all state and federal laws, city and county ordinances, court orders, and shall appear on time for all scheduled court appearances. Defendant shall consent to a search of his or her person, vehicle, or place of residence upon the request of any law enforcement officer at the time. Defendant shall submit a chemical test of his or her blood or breath blood, saliva, or urine for the purpose of determining alcohol or controlled substance usage upon the request of any law enforcement officer, court order, or probation officer. What in the hell is wrong? Yeah, I don't get. She's a very pretty young lady, but yeah, it's sometimes you just never know what to expect with people. It's scary, really. And we have defendant shall have no contact or communication with victims. And then her bond is at 100,000, which I said that it was previously at 250,000. And this was on the 5th. And this is basically a screenshot. The jail is really, really weird. They when you go to look at their jail roster, it doesn't pull up like a standard web, browser would. When you go to look up inmates, it actually puts them all into an Excel sheet. So it's very strange, and it automatically just downloads it for you. Okay, this is for the case that was filed um, publicly. And this one basically says that her bond conditions, if she was to get out on bond, and that's the docket for the other case. And now she wasn't caught until January 4th. I think it was the 4th. Yeah, it was the 4th. So she left the state of Missouri on the 23rd of December, and she was eventually caught in Garden Ridge, Texas. Okay, this is the probable cause affidavit. So this is where it's going to basically outline the story and the allegations of what happened and why she's being charged with this. Okay, we've got the same charges here. And then these are the facts supporting this belief are as follows. It says on December 7th, 2023, I was contacted by Laquey Senior Resource Officer Brian York regarding a student who had come forward to report a sexual relationship between a student and a teacher. The teacher involved, oh, I should clarify that anything that you see marked up on here was basically just me so I could find something easier or quicker. Um, so it says, um, regarding a student who had come forward to report a sexual relationship between a student and a teacher. The teacher involved was identified as Hailey Carmack. Now, um, this is her, she now goes by a hyphenated name since her divorce. So that's why in my title I have Clifton Carmack. And she's booked under Clifton Carmack as well. Says, I was able to speak to the confidential witness about obtaining permission from their guardian. According to the confidential witness, they learned of the relationship after the confidential victim, a 16-year-old, showed them photographs of their back with scratches. The confidential victim advised the scratches were from Hailey after the confidential victim had sex with her in the confidential witness's driveway. The confidential witness also stated they overheard a phone call between the confidential victim and Hailey. During the phone call, the confidential victim stated it was his birthday, and Hailey replied from the other end, I'm out of state, but I can send you money, baby. Goes on to say, during the interview, the confidential witness stated Hailey is too friendly with students and sometimes will dress inappropriately at school. When asked to describe what inappropriate was to them, the confidential witness stated she will wear tight or low cut shirts to show off her, quote, headlights. and will wear tight leggings that, quote, show off her camel toe. The confidential witness also stated Hailey has openly discussed her personal life with the class and stated she has gotten in trouble with administration for being too close with students. This lady's messed up. You heard about this case, Nancy? Yeah. I've seen it posted on YouTube, oh, like when she first got charged with it, but I haven't seen anything recently. Let's see. It says this information was verified by the superintendent of Laquey schools, who stated she was spoken to about it. However, no other parties other than Hailey, the principal, and the superintendent knew about the discussion. It says the confidential witness also stated the confidential victim had told them he was the reason her divorce was pushed through, and Hailey wanted a divorce due to her husband only wanting to do, quote, do butt stuff. The school was able to tell me information provided by the confidential witness so far has been consistent in what he had reported to the teacher, superintendent, and to myself when I spoke to the superintendent about speaking to the confidential on witness one-on-one in a private office at the school. I'm surprised that yeah, they she's already been talked to about it. I agree. I'm surprised the principal would allow her to dress that way. I mean, how could they not see it? You know? Unless she fixed her clothing before she left the classroom. Um, it says on December 8th, 2023, I returned to LaCoy schools to make contact with Hailey and seize her phone via a search warrant. Hailey handed over her phone with no issues and did not have the normal behavior of someone facing the same allegations. Hailey denied having any kind of relationship with students outside of the school. I advised Hailey, even if she spoke to students outside of the school, there was nothing illegal about it, just a school's privacy policy violation, which blows my mind. But um, it says, I spoke to her about the accusations, and Hailey denied all of them and stated she had never had contact with the confidential victim outside of school. I thanked Hailey for her time and ended the interview. Goes on to say, I then applied for a search warrant for the contents of Hailey's phone. On 12/13/2023, I served Hailey with a copy of the search warrant, and through the advice of her attorney, Charles, she would not provide a passcode for the phone. Hailey's phone was sent off to get into her phone, and on 12/22, I received an email with a PDF file from some of the content recovered from Hailey's phone. The messages recovered from Hailey's phone show a conversation between her and the confidential victim discussing their relationship. On 12/23/23, 2023, I said that weird. The sheriff's department received an anonymous tip that Hailey was leaving to go out of town to Texas, and was going by to meet the confidential victim before leaving town to go to Texas for the holidays. Apparently, that's where she has a lot of family from. It says on January 3rd, 2024, I met with confidential witness number 2 in a recorded interview. The following is a synopsis of the interview, and the full interview will be included in the case file. Confidential witness number 2 advised me that she had been over to the confidential victim's residence and had spoken with his father. According to confidential witness number 2, the confidential victim's father knew of the relationship between Hailey and the victim, as both had told him of their sexual relationship. The victim's father relayed to confidential witness number 2 that Hailey and the victim have been in a sexual relationship and have used other students as lookouts while they had sex during school, and that Hailey had been over to the residence before she left Missouri to go to Texas. Let me scroll down a little bit. There we go. Um, it says the confident or when confidential witness number 2 advised the father they were going to come forward with the information, he responded by telling her, "They're going to do it behind my back, so I may as well let it happen." He also advised confidential witness number 2 um, that he would lie for his son if he had to. After receiving the information, I went out and spoke to the father, who did acknowledge that Hailey had been over at their residence before leaving to go to Texas. Now, the father has been charged as well, not to the extent that she has, but he has been charged, and rightfully so, like under his own roof, and he allows that. Is Stephanie in here? I don't see her. Oh, hey, Stephanie. I thought Steven was saying hi to me. Yeah. So the father of the child was okay with it. Yeah, it's disturbing. Let's see. It goes on to say, this is complete the following if a warrant is being requested, which it was. I believe that the defendant will not appear in court in response to a criminal summons and or that the defendant poses a danger to a victim, the community, or other person for the following reasons. Hailey has family out of state and has been known to go down to Texas. Hailey left Missouri to go to Texas around 12/23, 2023, and as of 1 January 3rd, 2023, that's got to be a typo. Yeah, they had a typo because it's 2024, had not returned. Individuals living at the residence that Hailey was previously living at stated she had moved to Texas to live with her family down there. They were not sure if she was going to return to Missouri. And that's basically a blank page. Um, this is the criminal complaint, which lists um, charges that are in line with the indictment. So I'm just going to go over, bypass that. And this is basically showing that the warrant was ordered and it was signed off by the judge. And you can see here that the $250,000 bond is what it originally was. And then this is the warrant for the arrest. And her bond conditions down here. Defendant shall have no contact with the victim. Defendant shall have GPS monitoring. Defendant shall have bond tracking by OCCS, which is the company that monitors when someone has a ankle monitor. And then let's see. Defendant is prohibited from leaving Pulaski County, the state of Missouri, the United States without permission of the court, and defendant shall have no contact with any minor under the age of 18. Um, Now, this is, I can start here with either um, showing you guys what I've found when I was researching the case, or I can show you the father's probable cause affidavit, whichever. I'll let you guys tell me what you want to hear first. I'll just give it a minute. Because what's to come is not in relation to her current charges. So I don't want to confuse anybody if it's easier for me to, or easier to follow along if I switch over to his probable cause. I'll leave that up to you guys. Sorry if I missed anything in the chat. I don't know why YouTube didn't send out any notifications, but that's okay. Do you guys have a preference? Am I talking to myself? Maybe. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. So I guess that I will continue down this one. Um, so when I was looking up Hailey's case, I noticed that she had a handful of previous cases that were filed. And when I was looking through them, I was shocked at the amount of failure to appear warrants that were issued for her. What's the question? Oh, I asked probable cause. Okay. I was asking what would be easier to follow, either show you what I found or go to the father so you can see what he was being charged with, since they're kind of in line with the current charges. So I'm here. I've got the dad's already pulled up. Let me grab it real quick. Okay. And as I said, I did redact the father's name, so I can maybe help protect this kid in some way, since his dad is out on bond. So anything that you see in this darker blue color is going to be the father's name. And this shows that on when was this one filed? This was filed January 4th, and this states, I, Detective Sergeant Brian Gibbs, on this third day of January 2024, knowing that false statements are punishable by law, state that the facts contained herein are true. And he's saying that he's a deputy at the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department. And he says, I have probable cause to believe that on or about December 24th at blank, and then he gives his name and address, committed one or more criminal offenses endangering the welfare of a child, first degree. And then I'm glad they're charging him too. I agree with you, Claire. So this states, on January 3rd, 2024, I met with a confidential witness in a recorded interview room. The following is a synopsis of the interview, and the full interview will be included in this case file. Confidential witness number 2 advised me that she had been over at the confidential victim's residence and had spoken with the victim's father, blank. According to confidential witness number 2, blank knew of the sexual relationship between Hailey and the victim, as both had told him of their sexual relationship. Blank relayed to confidential witness number 2 that Hailey and the victim have been in a sexual relationship and have used students as lookouts while they had sex during school, and that Hailey had been over to the residence before she left Missouri to go to Texas. It states, confidential witness number 2 stated, when over at blank's residence shortly after the word got out, they walked that word got out, they walked in, and blank was on the phone with Hailey. Hailey was asking blank what the confidential victim had told detectives and the worker had who had spoken with him. Blank told Hailey the victim was currently asleep and she had blank go wake him up to talk to her, and blank did. Hey, Cree. It says, one confidential witness number 2 advised blank They were going to come forward with the information. He responded by telling them that they're going to do it behind his back, so I may as well let it happen. I also advised confidential witness number two, or he also advised confidential witness number two he would lie for his son if he had to. After receiving this information, I went out and spoke to the father, who did acknowledge that Hailey had been over at their residence before leaving to go to Texas. I also advised blank I had more information from the phones and the witnesses proving he knew of the relationship and had never reported any of the information. It was at this point that blank asked me what was going to happen next. I advised blank at this time, he was going to be placed under arrest and placed on a 24-hour hold while I filed charges. And they did. Blank was allowed to secure his residence and gather any items he may need before being placed into double locked handcuffs and transported to the Pulaski County Justice Center. Says, I believe that the defendant will not appear in court in response to a criminal summons, and the defendant poses a danger to a victim, the community, or another person for the following reasons. Blank knew of the relationship of his minor child and the 26-year-old teacher, and instead of reporting the information, he continued to cover for them and allowed their relationship to continue. Blank even allowed Hailey to come over to his residence and see the victim while he was present. Hey, PMR. And this is stating that he committed the Class C felony of endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree, punishable under conviction under sections blah blah, revised statute Missouri, and in that between on or about November 1st, 2023 and January 3rd, 2024, in the county of Pulaski, state of Missouri, the defendant knowingly acted in a manner that created a substantial risk to the body and health of confidential victim, a child less than 17 years of age, by facilitating and encouraging confidential victim to have a sexual relationship with the confidential victim's teacher. And this offense was committed by the defendant as part of an act or a series of acts performed by two or more persons as part of an established or prescribed pattern of activity by working with confidential victim's teacher to facilitate a secret sexual relationship with the child. And it says that the range of punishment for a Class C felony is imprisonment in the custody of the Missouri Department of Corrections for a term of years not less than 3 years and not to exceed 10 years, or by a fine not to exceed $10,000, or by both imprisonment and a fine. Hey, Napa. And this is the um, request for a warrant. And his bond was only $50,000 compared to hers. And a bail bond company did get him out. Let's see. It says that the defendant shall have no contact with Hailey. Then here we have his warrant for arrest, which I believe he was still in custody at the time. Let's see. And this is the memorandum from January 5th, basically for his arraignment. And it was a status hearing for January 8th and a preliminary hearing on February 5th. And this just basically shows the same bond conditions that I just read to you. Scroll down. And then this was attached to it, which is interesting because I see this witness tampering quite often around these YouTube streets. So I figured I would just leave it in. It says a person commits the crime of tampering with a witness if, with the purpose to induce a witness or a prospective witness in an official proceeding to disobey a subpoena or other legal process, or to absent himself or avoid subpoena or other legal process, or to withhold evidence, information, or documents, or to testify falsely. Threatens or cause harm to any person or property, or uses force, threats, or deception, or offers, confers, or agrees to confer any benefit, direct or indirect, upon such witness, or conveys any of the foregoing to another in the furtherance of a conspiracy. What'd you say, Pamela? I'll give you an event that's going to be a huge case in my. Ooh, that'd be cool. You'll have to let me know. And it says a person commits the crime of victim tampering if the purpose to do with if with purpose to do so he prevents or dissuades or attempts to prevent or dissuade any person who has been victim of any crime or a person who is acting on behalf of any such victim from making a report such as victimization to any peace officer, calling 911, basically, local or federal law enforcement officer or prosecuting agency, or to any judge. Causing a complaint, indictment, or information to be sought and prosecuted, or assisting in the prosecution thereof. Assisting or causing or seeking the arrest of any person in connection with such victimization. Right, Nurse Jen? It's interesting, huh? It says tampering of a witness or victim as a Class C felony if the original charge is a felony. Otherwise, tampering with a witness or victim is a Class A misdemeanor. Persons convicted under this section shall not be eligible for parole. And then it basically says that posting bond would be 10%. Now, that's all of the dad's stuff. So I'll get rid of that. Let's see if okay. So, when I was reviewing her case, I found some interesting stuff that I'm going to go over. And um, I, when I looked at this stuff, I can't help but I'm not familiar with how often school districts run background checks or um, act on any arrest of their teachers. But she had 6 failure to appears. And so I was just going to show that. Okay, this one is, and a couple of them are just traffic fines. However, she never showed up to take care of that in court. So she was issued a warrant. And this one is for, you guys see my cursor? Yeah, you can. Okay. Um, this one was filed in August 19th, 2015, and she entered a plea of guilty. And it was for something really silly, like speeding. And this one, she took care of it. And that's just basically showing that she pled guilty. This one is for October 1st, 2015, and it was another guilty plea. And the last one was for a misdemeanor. This one's for a misdemeanor as well. But she entered a guilty plea here. This one is October 21st, 2019, and she entered a guilty plea, and this one was for speeding as well. And then here is where she starts to get warrants. This was issued on February 13th, 2020, and oop, hit my mouse. This has her warrant for arrest, and she had small bond amount, but she still had a bond nonetheless. And then it says that the warrant was served on October 7th, 2020. And when you see this, the second date under here, that is basically when the warrant, um, there's a due date that she needs to be picked up by. And this is basically the docket for that warrant. So her warrant was returned on October 7th. And then here on April 25th, 2022, we have another guilty plea. And this one was for failure to display plates on a motor vehicle. Here we go. Okay. This is, I put these out of order. This is for September 1st, 2022. And this was another warrant for failure to appear. And she was served with that warrant October 6th, 2022. Same bond condition or same bond amount. And let's see. This is, oh, I went backwards. That's why. This is June 10th, 2022, and it's another guilty plea. And this is failure to display plates on a motor vehicle. I hope I didn't duplicate what I was doing. And this is October 5th, 2022, another warrant for failure to appear. And the service date on this is listed as October 6th, 2022. And it's basically, this is the docket again. Then we have September 2nd, 2022, another guilty plea. And this is for another misdemeanor, owner operating a motor vehicle without maintaining financial responsibility, motor vehicle required to be registered. So she has they're just some silly traffic tickets, but because she didn't end up holding her end of the bargain for showing up to court, she got all these failure to appear warrants out on her. And this warrant was issued on November 17th, 2022, and it was returned on November 26th, 2023. That's basically the docket again. This one was for December 12th, 2023. Now, she skipped town on December 23rd. She, which charge is this for? This is for, bear with me here. Sorry, let me see. Where's her offense at on this one? Understand rights. Hereby plead guilty and request the court to enter my plea of guilty to the above offense. But this doesn't even have her. Um, it doesn't have her charge on it. This one is for April 26th, 2023. And this is driver front passenger failure to wear properly adjusted fastened safety belt. So I say $10 on that. The fine is $10. Jesus, I didn't realize seatbelt tickets were that cheap. And this was another warrant that was issued on July 20th, 2023. And this is basically the docket. And a request for a warrant was filed on July 20th, 2023. Bond is set at $100. Or I'm sorry, bond is set at $10 with guilty plea. Here's the arrest warrant. Okay. And this is for her seatbelt ticket. They must have, they didn't put the $100 on there, but they put the 10%. Okay. That's how they're writing them. And then this is for the warrant that I just read out. It's for this case number 15. Is that too big now? No, I don't think so. And then we have another filing from April 26, 2023, and that was a guilty plea. And yet another failure to appear warrant on July 26, 2023. And this is for owner operating motor vehicle without maintaining financial responsibility. And there's the docket again. And then it's just basically showing here that there was a warrant out for her arrest for this. And that's the request for a warrant. And this is the appearance waiver of guilt. When did it? This is December 12th again. And so basically that is all of the charges that she had. I have it listed here. Give me a second. So she has 3 misdemeanor C's, 2 misdemeanor D's, 1 C felony, 1 D felony, and 2 E felonies, and 6 failure to appear warrants. Now, I don't know if anybody here knows how often they run background checks, or uh, I just find it hard to believe that in such a small town like that they would have no problems with their teachers getting arrested constantly. It just kind of blows my mind. So that's all I have there. And I could have drug this out longer and read every single piece of documentation that I have on here, but I mean, I showed you all the main documents. There's just some little things that I don't really need to go over. So that is what I have for this case. I'll be interested to see where it goes from here. And the superintendent did put out a statement, and in his statement, he said, "We have been made aware of criminal charges being filed against an employee for alleged misconduct. We understand that charges are not the same as conviction, and the employee is to be considered innocent until proven guilty. We must stress, however, that the alleged misconduct is inexcusable and does not meet the professional standards for district employees. The district took immediate action once we were aware of the situation. An investigation is ongoing. The employee has not been in the district since December 8, 2023, and we do not anticipate her return. We strive to ensure that every individual is treated with respect, kindness, and fairness so that all feel safe and secure and welcomed in our schools. It's a weird statement. It almost reads like, in my opinion, as they're not making this as big of a deal as it is. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but other than that, that is all I have for this case. And Claire, if you wanted to cover this or anything, I can give these to you. So I know that you cover a lot of cases. So you'll just let me know and I can get it over to you. So other than that, that is all I have for this. I might eat some cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory, and I might just come back live and BS with you guys, but I didn't want to mix anything else with this specific case and this specific defendant. So other than that, I think that I will end this live. However, I may come back here in a little bit after I fill my face with some cheesecake. And I apologize that notifications did not go out, but hopefully you guys can catch replay if you did not see this live. And other than that, I will see you guys again soon. Ambulance Girl, thank you so much for gifting memberships. I appreciate that very much. You're always so kind. You're welcome, Claire. You have a full load? Yeah, no worries. If you ever want it, just let me know. Other than that, I thank you guys for joining me this stream, and I will, hey Cooch, I will catch you guys here soon, maybe later this evening. But other than that, that's all I have for this, and I am going to let you guys go. I hope you guys have a great evening if I do not see you later this evening, and have a wonderful day tomorrow. And thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
We go back and forth every time, waiting for one of us to cross the line. You got me and I got you, and we got a lot to prove. They think we're too damaged to fix, but we're just working through a little rust. They like to say we're just young, but I know we won't give this up. Sometimes I lose my mind, and some days it's hard to find the reason why you stay by my side.